Hey everybody, so I just got this 2008 Chevy 3500 Express. So the problem I have is this headliner right here. I don't know why. This is from the south, so maybe it's a heat related issue. But you see right here, the headliner has fallen down and it's kind of hanging here, and it doesn't go back up because it's the actual backing that is deformed. It's not the fabric. So apparently, when you look this up on carpart.com, you can only get an 08 and an 09 to fit. I don't know if it's got anything to do with the airbag or exactly why. I think it might be a little weird features, like they started putting a little microphone in there. But anyway, I couldn't find one for this vehicle. I did find a 22 that came from a cargo van. Now we have some of these at where I work now, and they're all from 22s, and I measured the headliner and it looks like it's pretty much an exact fit. I mean, within reason, from what I could find with the tape measure and some measurements I took. I thought they were all the same, because when I look on the GM OEM parts websites and stuff, they say they're the same for the fronts for pretty much all of them, and just the rears are different. And I'm pretty sure it said the cargo was the same also, but this one, it only had 3 holes in the roof there for these push pins, and they weren't in this position here. They were actually forward a little bit, so I have to make all the holes in there that I found out later. And there was some staining and stuff on there that I couldn't get out, so I had to rip the liner off of the new one, which I really didn't want to do because it was on there really well, and I'll have to reline it. But the cargo van has a different light in it. It doesn't have the rear AC, so I have to cut the hole for the rear AC, cut the new hole for the light, or I could use the cargo van light, but I'm going to cut the hole for this one. And then I have to line up these holes and put the holes in the liner for those as well. The 22 does have like a little notch up here for a wire that goes to the backup camera. I don't have the backup camera in there, so I'm just going to go over that with the liner material and cover it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work, but we're going to find out. So first thing I got to do is I got to take this out and see if the other one will go up. And to get this out, obviously you got to take these push pins out, and then the clips here will be loosened. There's a little button inside that you pull down. I guess it's not a button, but it's this right here. So you're going to go in there and you're going to pull that down, and it's going to loosen these up. I believe they stay in the liner. And then you're going to have 3 screws right here to take the visor down. And then these just kind of pull away. This one's got a broken one, so be careful you don't break them all off, but basically they just kind of pull away like this and pull away at the bottom, and then that comes off. The same thing over there. The handle has those same type of little I don't know what they are, like the inserts. You kind of pull them out just like on these. You pull them out, and then that's going to release the handle, so you can pull the handle off, and then that obviously comes off the same way. So there should be a wire plug in there that connects the harness, and I'm going to disconnect that as well. So let's start getting this taken out. So that's kind of how that looks. You pull these out so they're out, and then it releases that pin that's in the middle there, so this will collapse, and then you pull that off. You got a plug down there and some push pins that run up here that go into the headliner for the headliner. Passenger side has the plug right there for the light in the mirror. Take the 3 screws out here, and then you just kind of wiggle it and pull it out, and then it pops out of that hole there. You can see where it's held into the hole. And then those are removed. So now that those are done, I'm going to leave these in right now because those are pretty much the same as this, how they clip up in there. Once you pull that down, then this will actually drop the headliner down in the front. So now that there's nothing holding it, you do want to be careful. There are airbags up there, obviously, because it says airbag. So that is something to be aware of. So we're going to take this off here. I had it out before. This trim kind of clip comes off. It clips in. I don't know if it was in, down, or up. But we're working on that. Alright, so the way these clips in is the hooks go out. So you want to kind of push down, like towards the center. And then that's how you kind of release it. But you can see the way the hooks are. So you're going to kind of squeeze in to get them to come out. And then once you get those out, I think you're going to come up in this little hole here. There's a couple of holes. And then you're going to pull the tab down, I believe, away from the trim ring. And this will go up. And this comes out. So this is all there is. It's just this little piece of metal in here. I thought there'd be like bracketry or something, but there wasn't. So it's just this little piece of metal. So we're gonna get this little piece of metal out. And then we gotta just cut our hole in the new one. And then it'll go in. Feels like there's just tabs on the back. Bend the tabs up. There's one there. So 2 tabs on the bottom. And that comes out. So you just got these little tabs there. So just kind of like a radio installation, and just bend them up out of the way. And then we'll cut a new hole, put it in there, and just bend them back down. So I'm just gonna come in here with this thing, kind of pry it down. That comes out. And then it drops down. Do the same thing to there. I'll take my last push pin out, and then I'm probably gonna slide this forward because I don't want to take these out if I don't have to. So I'm probably gonna just slide this forward and then unhook it from under there, so I don't have to kind of risk breaking any tabs off if I pull these side pieces off of the B-pillar trim, whatever you want to call that. And then I will have it out. All right, so the difference between this one and the other one is this one is actually a lot more flimsy. No, not flimsy. The other one is softer. So the original one is softer, so I was able to pull it out and didn't have any problems. This one is stiffer, so it actually has perforations in here. You can see the light shining through where it's designed to break when the airbag comes through. So when I tried to put it up there, I started hearing a little bit of cracking on that side. So I was just like, I better stop and take those out. So there's a little screw behind the trim thing there, and then the little clips on the adjusters, which was a nightmare to get off. There's a little tab you got to push up in the bottom, and then it kind of comes off. I couldn't get the tab up. I ended up having to just kind of wrestle it and finally get it off. It's a T50 Torx bolt to get these off. And then once those are off, you can pull the trim away. It just pulls back and then pulls back, and then it comes off. There's a couple of locking pins here, and here. So you pull them off, and there's obviously a screw up behind that little hole there. Right there's a screw behind there, Phillips screw. And then this top pulls away, and then the bottom pulls away. So take the screw out, pull that away, and then this part will pull away also. Well, as you can see, it is up. Follows the windshield line. All the little tabs and stuff go into place. Takes a little bit more work, I think, to get them in there than it probably would with this one, because this one is softer, it's probably the reason that end had issues. I say they put this reverse camera in when I bought it, so it looks like they ran it up that way. I gotta wonder if they tried to pull it down on this side and broke it, or what the deal was with that. The only problem I had with this one is right there where that piece of plastic trim is for the door. It doesn't want to go in front of it. It's like it's too big. It doesn't go far enough forward to get in there. So I put it above it. I don't know if I could probably trim it or something, or once I put the foam on there, it might take up that space because, I mean, you got an 1/8 inch of foam that goes on there. I might be able to mess with it a little bit to get it to work. If you wanted to not put the holes in, because this is a cargo version, the holes are in the roof. You can see it right there. So it's got the same mounting points in there still. They're just like 2 inches back for the other set of them for the actual passenger version. Because like I said, this came out of a cargo van. I thought they were going to be the same because it looked like it said they were the same on their on the website, but obviously those holes are not the same. So yeah, I mean, it fits. These little things like that, but I think once I put the headliner on, because like I say, it's got that little bit of, I think it's like a 1/8 of an inch or a little bit more for the foam backing. It might take up those spots, but I mean, you could probably do a little massaging and get it in there better. This is uncoated, so obviously it's a different color. I had to get, like I said, the new headliner because it was all stained. It was in an accident, and I don't know, something got up on the ceiling there and stained it everywhere, and I didn't want to bring mold into this vehicle and then get mold everywhere, so I removed it. And lucky I did, because it was on the headliner material itself, under the foam, under the liner, the fabric part, so I wouldn't have been able to get it out anyway. So now that I know it will fit, I'm gonna cut my holes and stuff, and I'm gonna put the headliner material on, and we'll go from there. I gotta transfer the wiring over because this wiring's different, and it's got the compass thing back there I gotta put on. So I mean, like little pieces of the rigid foam and stuff in here, this is not on this one, but I don't know if I'm gonna need it because, like I say, this is softer, so I think that this is more there to stiffen up this backer, because it's a different type of backer. This is more of a harder foam type than this with the, I don't know, so like it's got bigger holes in it, so it's more squishy than this. This is pretty stiff, and this is actually kind of squishy and soft. So I think all the extra foam that's on there is just for rigidity for this material that it is, but we'll end up finding out. So like I said, I got to transfer the wiring over, which shouldn't be a huge deal, and cut out the holes the size they need to be, and then we'll go from there. So I made up a little template here, as you can see. Just like that. I put the piece of paper over the hole of the original. I put a block of wood on there, and then I traced the hole, cut it out, and then I kind of keyed it to the front of the headliner, so I knew kind of where to put it. So I always taped the piece of paper, went to the front, did the same thing, and then cut the front out. So basically that's the middle, and we're fairly close to where it's supposed to be. I don't think it's got to be exact, it just has to be in the rough area. And traced it out with a pen, so we'll cut that out, and then I'll have that hole, and then I got to do the same thing for the hole for the light, because for some reason they didn't make them the same, because this is the cargo lamp version, which goes in this hole, and this is the passenger version, which does not fit in this hole, so I'll have to cut that out too. I'll see how difficult it is to cut that out. I might not do it, because I mean, I don't necessarily know if I need it, so we'll see how hard it is to cut this. I'm just going to use kind of a knife. So I got it in there. It actually was pretty easy. I just scored it, kept just going deeper and deeper until I cut my way through, and then I test fitted the trim piece that goes in there, and it went in pretty easy, to be honest. And it took a little bit of trimming to get it in there just right, because you know, when you're tracing things, you get like inside diameter and outside diameter, and it you don't always get the exact size hole. So that's that there. So I'm probably gonna do this one here for the other dome light as well, because that was actually pretty easy, and I'll do it the same way. And then I also have to outline the spots for the 5 push pins that hold the backside up. You can use these if you want. The problem I'm thinking you're gonna have is the other headliner. It doesn't go in really all the way. There's one connector in the middle is actually in the spot. So if you wanted to use this, you would have to take it out and then use this on through both of them. But the other headliner, most of it only goes to like here, and it goes around all the holes. So you won't be on the other headliner. So the other headliner will actually be pushing on this the whole time, and I think it'll cause it to sag. So I'm going to put the holes in the right spots, so when you put the push pins in, it actually holds both liners up in the same spot. And I think you'd have less chance of deforming if it's back here than up here in the spots that it is in. So that is my rationale for that. So that's what I'm gonna do with that. I couldn't find the original ones that go with this for some reason. All I could find was some other version, and they're not as long, which I don't really like that, but I really don't have too many other options other than what they're giving me or what I can get. I mean, I could probably find them if I do some more research, but that is where I'm at the moment. Something else I did not really take into account is the front A-pillar trims. This hole is a little bit different than this hole, and being that this is softer, it'll push on it and squeeze in, and this is more rigid, it might not line up exactly right up here at the front. So I'm gonna have to see how that goes. I really wish I had test fitted it while I had it in there rather than I'm at the point that I'm at, because I don't really want to put it back in there just to see if that'll fit, because I'm not going to say I'm committed, but I'm kind of committed. I mean, the part that's going to stink is changing the harness over from the original one to this one, and then if it doesn't work out right, now I have the harness in there. Well, got that cut in. Came out all right. Basically the same thing, just kind of went around it, the hard corners, or the round parts where you can't really bring a flat knife through very easily. When it gets deeper, I just kind of cut little sections, and it broke out as I was going. This comes out pretty easy. Just pop that out. It undoes that side of the latch or whatever holds it in, and then slides out. Kind of a pain to get it out when the wiring's on there because it's so tight, but you can make it work. I did it earlier. So I guess next thing is to do the holes, actually, and then get those lined up, and then I'll be ready to line it. All right, so I got all my marks done. I took the other headliner, I put it over the top of this to try to get a rough estimate of where they were. I went inside the van and measured on that cross brace, and the holes were 1 3/4 of an inch apart from where these ones would be into where these ones are on the original passenger version. So I measured back 1 3/4 off of the center hole here, put a dot. I took the other headliner, put it over the top of this. I centered that dot in this hole, and I tried to line it up as best I could. And then I made the marks through the headliner on top of it. Because of the foam and stuff, I couldn't get really close. I just kind of squeezed it together. I got close. So I ended up taking a piece of paper, putting it on top of the other headliner, and making my marks through the bottom of it. I cut them out, and I put them over this, and all the marks were really close. You could see they were maybe a little bit off, but I mean, this isn't exactly a perfect hole either. It just has me my rough, this is where it is type of thing. So I measured off of the other headliner, and this hole was 3 inches off the other headliner. I measured off this one, it was 3 inches here, 1 3/4 there, and then with this template on top, I had it basically exactly where it was. So I came over here, same thing, 1 3/4 back, 3 inches off the back here, and it put the hole basically exactly where it is there. So I know that at least these two were really close. I know the holes are in a straight line, so it's basically in a straight line. So I measured all these 3 inches off, and then I took the edge of this paper, as you can see, and you can kind of, because obviously the paper is going to be straight because I lined it up pretty straight. Oh, within reason. I mean, the hole you're going to put is going to be bigger than it's going to be anyway. And you could see that I'm pretty much centered on all of these, and that's about where they're going to be. So I'm pretty confident that's where they're good enough. So I just got to figure out how I'm going to cut these holes out. I don't want to try a drill bit because I think a drill bit's going to tear it out, but I'm not sure. A hole saw might tear it out too, so I might try something. Maybe I'll try a hole saw, or maybe I'll just cut it out with a knife. I'm not exactly sure yet. Or if I had like a carving thing, like a carving knife with a curved blade. Some of the curved blade I could punch through. I don't exactly know. We'll figure it out, but I'll get them in there somehow. And once that's through, this will basically be done, and then I will reline this headliner with the material, and we'll put it back on. So I had a set of these Porta cable, I think they're Forstner bits. I'm not exactly sure what they were called. I got these back when I was, I built some guitars, and I needed it for the inlays on the neck. This says exactly what they are. It just says Porta cable. Anyway, it so we can focus on it. It's got like a, see how the edge, it's like a sharpened kind of edge that cuts the outside so it doesn't tear. They actually worked really well. And I cut that hole, got the auto thing on. So cut that hole really quickly, and it went really well. So I'm gonna use that for the rest of these, and I think we'll be good. I did kind of a center point. I did this with all of them. This is a 5/8 hole, I believe. Yeah, so 5/8. That bit worked awesome. So in case you're wondering, that's what I would use in the future. This one I might have to do, obviously it's a little elongated, probably for some angle in there. I'll probably just do 2 holes side by side to make that, and then we'll be done. So I could try to see if I cut one for you. There, right in the center. Like I said, I think it's because it's got those sharpened edges that basically cut the outside so it doesn't tear. So it slices the outside first and it gouges the middle. And that does a really good job. All right, so I got my headliner out. This is the new piece. Like I said, I'm gonna wrap around a little bit. It's cut a little big. It's gonna be a little tricky to do this because I've got like 2 concave things, so you got to kind of get it in there and on there without any wrinkles or creases or anything. So I got this high performance, high temp spray adhesive. I'm gonna spray it on both sides. So I'm gonna spray it on this, spray it on the liner. So the liner on the backer. I'm gonna spray it in one direction. I'm gonna spray it in the other direction, so I get good even coverage. I'm supposed to wait 2 minutes till it becomes tacky, and then put it on. It says don't wait any more than 6 to 8 minutes. I believe, yeah, bonds must be made within 6 to 8 minutes after adhesive application. So gotta work pretty quick. So I'm gonna get this put on, and hopefully it comes out good. All right, so I got this all the wiring transferred over. Initially, I just removed the connector of this piece of wiring off here, but I figured I probably shouldn't have. I should have just left it there and then just poked little holes under it like I did for the rest and just put zip ties on there. I thought about it after I did it that I probably shouldn't have done that. So that's what I ended up doing up here, so I didn't have to glue it all. I just tried hot glue to kind of hold this down. I don't know what this stuff was. I want to say it was an epoxy type thing because it's got some bubbles in it. So that's kind of what I assumed it was, but I'm not exactly sure. So I tried some hot glue, put a piece of tape on that to protect it in case anything rubs. You want to make sure it's not in a point that's going to rub on the ceiling, being that these are 2 different year versions. I don't know exactly how they would line up, but they seem to be all right. So I do have some wrinkles in the top. It's hard to get it around here because you get 2 different contours. Obviously it folds this way and then it folds this way, and it's difficult to get it around here. So I do have a couple little bit of wrinkles here, kind of like in this area right there, where I couldn't get it out just because I had an excess here. And but I mean, it came out all right for what it is, I guess. So I'm going to try to put this back in real quick, or at least get it in there stable, so I can work on it tomorrow or finish it up tomorrow. Like I said, I got all my push pins in. This is the that is the compass module, I believe. I cut that off the other one, and I used some epoxy to put this on here. It's like this stuff right here. I'm not impressed by it, to be honest. We'll see how it seems to be hardening up, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't do that again if I had to. I would get something maybe a little better. But so like I say, this is done. We're gonna cut the little clips off the zip ties there, and then throw this back in. You can see I got it up there. There's this little gap right there, but it's not really noticeable. And over there, you got a little gap too. So like I said, I had to pull this down a little bit and kind of get that tucked up more above this piece than butted up against it. It does go right up there. I mean, that one there has got a broken tab, but it actually fits pretty well when you have it in place. So you can see it's not really a big gap or anything there. Same thing as over here. This is probably a better example because it's tight to it, but you can see it fits in there pretty well. I did get a wrinkle there, and I think another one there. So when I ordered this, they got different thicknesses of the back of the foam backing there. This was a thicker one, and they advertised it as a thicker one. I didn't think it was going to cause any type of issue, but you can see that everything recesses a little bit deeper because it's thicker, unlike the original one. So if it were to be my suggestion, I wouldn't get the thicker foam. One, now that I think about it, it would probably allow it to detach a little bit easier too, maybe because it's got more foam that can degrade. I don't really know, but you could see all the like little divots in there. So what ended up happening was, what I believe anyway, is the glue that I put on there was a little bit heavier in those spots. So when I pushed it on there, it squeezed into the foam and it held it tighter. So that's why it's got all the little divots there where it was a little bit of extra glue. It kind of globbed on a little bit more. And when I pushed it on, it squished into the foam, and then it held it, like I say, as a little divot. I don't know if it'll calm down over time or not, but it is what it is at this point in time. So if you were going to put a new backing on there, I would get a thinner foam to it, or don't put as much adhesive on. I think I probably went a little crazy and put too much adhesive on, thinking I need more to keep it from coming apart, but I don't know. So, I mean, it didn't come out great, but at least I don't have that hanging down. So while I did take care of that part, I kind of uglied up the rest of it. But it is what it is at this point in time. I'm just going to kind of use it, and that'll be that, because over time, nothing's going to be perfect on it anyway. So if you were to get a passenger version of this, I believe it would just go right in. I don't think you'd have to do any of the cutting, because from what I saw on the 22, it was basically exactly the same. So I think it would just go right in if you had the passenger one. The only thing you're going to have to do is change the wiring, because obviously the wiring isn't going to be the same. And I know on this one there was a compass module on there that, unless you get a passenger one with a compass module and it actually has it there, whether or not it's going to have the same mount or the same module, I don't exactly know. But the newer ones do physically fit with a little bit of modification. So I ran the wires to the microphone a little bit longer because, like I said, when I got it, the person cut the wiring off right there for me, which didn't really do me any favors. But I extended the wiring and I left it down there in a coil. So if I do change this radio out and I put a radio in there with CarPlay or Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, I'm going to use that microphone instead of whatever one they give me. I'm just going to put a plug on the end of the wiring and plug it into the back of the radio. And that way I can use this microphone instead of the cheap one they give you. And then it's in the roof, and I don't know if it'll make a difference, but that's kind of what I was thinking. So anyway, that is that. So hope that can help somebody. Thanks for watching.